Yeah, Prof here. We've got another box similar to the previous one that we need to open, but whew, do I not have time for that. Bunch of stuff took way longer than expected tonight. I did get to use these. I did play around with these. It was part of the time that I actually took to do things because I wanted to play with my new toys. You know what I mean? If you guys haven't seen the video on the III limited edition II Unit 4 in TMA 2, clears back, baby. Clears back. Look at that. Yeah, and these actually support Bluetooth LE properly. Supposedly there's a firmware update that makes this compatible with the transmitter as well. This is just standard Bluetooth. Maybe it's got a firmware update. You never know. Does have a USB-C port. And apparently a lot of the launch ones didn't have that. They just had power, which is interesting. So we're just going to move these out of the way temporarily here. That green is actually pretty nice. We got a different box. I gotta do that for you guys yet too. That's what we're opening up. Just take a little sneaky peek what's in here. It's one of those like plastic bags wrapped around it. So you can find an obvious seam. I can't because I taped it up so well. So I'll just do one of those. Based on the shape, a lot of you might know what this is. I mean, also, you probably looked at the title. And my titles are like the most obvious on purpose. Gertrude's coming over. Hey, Gertrude, how's your paw doing? I can see it right there. Yeah, we fixed that up for you, didn't we? Another note, got approval finally from my dad. I guess he got sick of trying to find used PCs for cheap to build a new quote-unquote cheap PC. I mean, it's not gonna be that cheap unless we go AM4, but I don't know if I'd build a brand new PC. Like if we needed to go in the like it's $500 or less range, we'd have to do that, obviously. But we'll see what the pricing looks like with what I sent him. I think the better bet is to go AM5, but as low as you can. You know what I mean? Rather than normally I would tell you guys to build a PC for what, you know, like for, I hate to call it future proofing, but basically enough power supply that you can upgrade a graphics card. You know, enough motherboard that you can upgrade your RAM. Enough CPU that it can support the graphics upgrade. You know, all that sort of stuff. Whereas in this case, we will be building it for exactly, like right now, you know, the cheapest item we can that's from a decent brand. Like I'm still going to get a Seasonic power supply, but we're going all the way to their core line because their core entry-level line now has ATX 3.0 compatibility, right? So we at least want to do that. I mean, we could shave even more money technically because he still has a power supply in there. That power supply is, well, it originally started as a 2nd gen system, So it's 2012, I believe. So it's only 13 years old. You know, like at this point, it's gonna die, right? It's just a matter of when. And I would rather not personally have it die with new hardware in there, because there's always a chance when a power supply dies that it takes out the other components with it. And it's not to say it's a bad power supply in there. It's just, you know, even the best ones nowadays are warranted for like 12 years or something, you know. And I have other power supplies like this Seasonic, this Antec Platinum here that we could use that Preston Frozen Slate broke the fan on. We had to swap with an Octo, but even this is I don't know if we have a year on here. EA 650 PSN, it might be 2013. Like, to be truthful, the power supply in his desktop might actually even be from an even older PC, because we would have carried it over. Never a bad thing to do. They can last you a long freaking time. But that power supply isn't even Haswell. So we've gone through 3 revisions of the ATX standard now. Haswell had lower power states. Then there was another one that had lower power states. I want to say it was 8th gen maybe. Or around that. The ATX standard got changed for, it's like 2.3 maybe, 2.4, something like that. And now we have ATX 3.0 and even 3.1. That's where you get your 12 pin for your new GPUs. Yeah, so I mean we could cut corners even more if we have to, but you know. So in here you can see by there, Happy Acting keyboard. This is my work one. You can see that is already an aftermarket set of keycaps. That is actually the second set of aftermarket keycaps that have been on here. The first set did not wear out by any means. Hey, Gertrude. Hey. Yeah, I'm trying to look at these keycaps here, Gertrude. Yeah. Come here. You can't go up on my shoulder. No. I can't shoot the video if you're up on my shoulder. Just like I can't type for work. Yeah, that happens. If she wants to be up on my shoulder. So there were 4 sets of Domikey keycaps, and this was the last one, the one I liked the least, that I hadn't picked up yet. But after cleaning off my, there you go, it's got yellow accents. That's the one saving grace of it, in my opinion. Blue's like an alright color, but not my favorite, that's for sure. But this is the last of the 4 Domikey Happy Hacking keyboard sets that was made. You saw the originally I had this sort of like brown beige colorway. Then we have this sort of that reminds me of not GMK Carbon, Dolch Carbon maybe, or GMK Carbon. It's like almost like an LTT, nice Tech Tips themed one. This is what I had been running at work on my beige Happy Hacking keyboard, hybrid Type S. Right, and this is actually my replacement Type S. As my, you can see by the date, be like, that's way newer than you said, because you said you picked yours up in like 2021 or whatever. Yeah. Turns out I at a minimum got a gray market one, if not a fake one. I doubt it's fake. It's probably gray market, but they wouldn't warranty it when I had issues with escape and function. And it wasn't the fault. It's not like, oh, Happy Hacking keyboard not warranty. It's you know, it wasn't registerable as a serial number. And then Amazon was trying not to, and they're like, oh, because you have to tell us within 30 days. Right, because I'm going to try and warranty a working keyboard with the manufacturer within 30 days. your logic makes no fucking sense. And I know it's been years, but I only now just found out that you sold me at least something I can't warranty, you know, if not a knockoff. It took quite some time to get this covered, and it didn't even fully get covered. I only got back what I think what I originally paid for it, or a partial refund. It's better than nothing. At least this one is now registered. I have the receipt, etc. So when I switched to this one, I swapped the keycaps from. I actually really like that it's like a brown. Normally beige is like it's beige and gray. This was beige and brown with yellow accents, like the yellow I really like. But after recently I swapped, you guys might have seen the recent video on the Wisteria keycaps there, the purple ones that are on my Snow. After cleaning up my keyboard and popping on a new set of keycaps on there, ho ho ho, did it refresh the board. Yeah, over here I've got the green set. This one's kind of cool because it's like, it's black with green lettering with dark green mods and then light green accents. So that one's pretty dope, and I try to keep the cover on it, and that's on my Happy Hacking Keyboard Hybrid non-Type S, which I actually prefer, but I bought the Type S for work to try and be quiet, and then it ended up working out because the Snow is only in Type S, even though I prefer the feel, personally, of the non-Type S. There's like a little bit more travel, and it does a little bit more, the classic Happy Hacking keyboard noise is more prominent. Now you can get the sets, like you just saw the Wisteria set from PFU, Happy Hacking Keyboard themselves. But those are only solid colors, so unless you buy multiple, I may have bought all the colors since they've started releasing. Because previously it was Real Force, not Happy Hacking Keyboard, that was selling them. But at least as far as I'm aware, outside of maybe Japan itself, who seems to have some really niche communities that are out there and available, these Domikey sets, there you go, Domi, are the only Topre native Happy Hacking Keyboard sets that I'm aware of. One downside is they are ABS. They're double-shot ABS. They're not PBT. So if you're really after that classic, chalky, just if you guys are wondering where the fact that PBT keycaps are better comes from, one of the classic places is Topre, because they're using die sub PBT, except for the spacebar on the Pro 2s. Now they do use PBT spacebars. So part of the feel of using like a Real Force or a Happy Hacking keyboard board are those die sub PBT caps. Sadly, though these are fairly similar profile wise, they are not that same texture and feel because they just can't be, being a different type of plastic. However, I do think that the color gives them a little flair, and I'm happy to pick up just to have something a little bit different. You know, otherwise every Happy Hacking keyboard looks the exact same, right? But yeah, for a lot of you out there that are like, oh, my double shot PBT, yada yada, I just feel like garbage. Yes, you can get a set of double shot PBT or even PBT backlit keycaps for like $30 now. Yep, they're gonna be garbage compared to, you gotta remember that those back in the day when you get the full Real Force sets, and this was back in, you know, pre-2010, right? Well, maybe it wasn't that far. It might have been like 2012 with the latest. That would have been like $110 that money then for those sets, right? They are not making the same quality keycap that, like nowadays, for $30 or even $60 that Topre Happy Hacking Keyboard made for their keyboards. There's not, right? Some of the big ones too, like OEM Cherry could come in PBT. You gotta remember a lot of these brands, like these technically over here, minus the lettering that are on that, those should be amazing, right? Those are thick die sub. Now, if you notice, it's like an italic font. A lot of people didn't like that. I have 2 sets of those. I should love typing on those because they're cherry profile, thick PBT dye sub. The PBT material feels amazing, but it's something about them molding the cherry profile, and because it's the thick cherry profile, they're like too low. It's weird. You know, like theoretically those should be like the most awesome keycaps. I think there was a total of 10 or 25, maybe whatever the minimum MOQ was, right? And I ended up with like Preston. Frozen Slate has a set of them too, because they should have been like amazing, right? So we were well, he wasn't necessarily on the site beta testing him, but I got a few sets. You know, it's kind of like some of the pens and stuff like that, where people go through me to get them. Not that they couldn't get them themselves. It's just probably easier for them to be like, hey, this guy's already on here. Just let him. Or I want that. Can you find it for me? Yes, I can. So that should be amazing. But it's just like, because they're trying to mimic, or they're molding over an existing keycap. They get funky. I actually really like that same brand made a thin wall PBT OEM height, which is very odd. That because OEM height and PBT back then, at least, not common. Nowadays, everything comes stock with PBT. It's not just the material, guys. Yes, the material feels better, it wears better, doesn't shine as much, but it also has downsides to it. Also, if they make it like as cheap and thin as possible, it's still gonna feel like butts. But those I really like, because they're dye sub black on black, not even black on dark gray like the Happy Hacking keyboard normally is. They're black on black. Really love those. Those are my KMAC 2. I'm not saying keycaps nowadays are crap. I'm just saying that there's also a lot of knockoffs. My Agar EC should be around here someplace. Here. So there's these really cool translucent. These are called like Neon R2. The R2 is for round 2. They were slightly different in round 1. The round 2 could also have like glitter in the thing. The one person that said that they had these failing was saying that they were PBT and they were cracking. These are actually ABS. So I don't even, to me they look polycarb, but polycarbonate, you know, like that. But they're definitely not PBT. So that's when they're saying like, this is my second set of PBTs that I've cracked. It's like, how in the fuck, if those are truly PBT, they're made properly? Now this is a true full-blown double shot. Like, you can actually see the plastic underneath. That's actually what's giving it its really cool effect. So they're quite unique. But maybe they had the round one, or to me it actually looked like a knockoff of the round one, which you guys have seen my review of, was it the Marvo DIY, and people chimed in the comments that basically every keycap set that they sold was a knockoff of something the community had done. I also got guff from that company. They're the ones that reached out to me. And they're complaining to me that I didn't do the video right or got enough views. And I'm like, bros, you're the ones that reached out to me. You also gave me, at least for me, a very short timeline to put that together. For some, third bit brand. For a board, I think that they wanted to charge $200. At some point, I need to get rid of that board. It's a 60% though, and not a lot of people run 60%. It's also got some jank-ass software. I recall the function key isn't movable, which is in my opinion, a bitch, because I like the function key here, or I want right alt. I think they have left alt, or like right Windows key or something, which is, right Windows key is fucking awkward as hell, because you can't do arrows here like I would like, and if you do IJKL, which is where you'd be on home row, your pinky is just fucking awkward as shit. What you want is Alt, and then you can do PJ. Here you can do inverted T if you want for arrows. That's very natural to fold the thumb under, or you can set up some left side action, use a different hand if you want. But yeah, a lot of people are not willing to run the 60%, especially because it doesn't have arrow keys. Finally getting people away from that number row, though. You know, heck yeah. Like, seriously, unless you're entering in, like, you are doing phone support and you have ticket numbers and you're like, ba 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 ba, you do not need, or if you're shipping, you need a number pad. If you're checkout, you need a number pad. Unless you're, like, you know, counting as well, probably you're doing a fuck ton of numbers. Okay, yep, then I agree. But if you guys are doing IT tech support or you're on a help desk and you know, you're not doing stuff via like constantly keying in numbers or constantly calling people or you know, like in Geek Squad, we needed the number pad, okay, because everything was done via service tags, service numbers, boop 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 boop, enter, everything numbers, and you'd be entering in like tons and tons and tons. I tried to simplify it later on, and I think they went a little bit towards that because a lot of that stuff could just be scanned, but they wouldn't like give you the budget to have the fucking scanner. Ugh. Our Apple one may have broke. Wink, wink. Yeah. So these are kind of cool in that it's blue on blue. You know, kind of like that green on green from before. Yellow accents. I always like myself some yellow accents. That yellow does heavy clash with that blue though. Like this blue. Goes well with the gray. Heavy clash with blue. But I'll be popping off the orange Domikey set off of my Happy Hacking keyboard, cleaning up the cleaning up the Happy Hacking keyboard, and putting this set on, and then also putting that set away. Clean it up first. I just used some tub of towels. They work great for fucking everything. They don't wreck the plastic, etc. You know. But if you guys are looking for, I'll see if I can throw a link. The first two sets I bought, which was the green and the beige, because you know, green for my home one before I had the snow, and then beige for my work one, since it was the beige keyboard. I thought that went well. Those I had to get direct from China. At least I think it was China. Whereas now you can literally just go on Amazon. Now, granted, you might have seen the packaging and it's like, that looks like it came direct from China. It sure did, except Amazon, I didn't pay any tariffs. I didn't do anything. They figured that shit out, right? Whereas normally I wouldn't care prior to tariffs dealing with that, but now it's a whole thing. You know, so if Amazon will let you, unless it's this like, I mean, I say if it's double, actually, with tariffs being at, what was it, 150% or whatever, maybe that's reasonable. Like, what was I looking at for somebody? Oh, the DeWalt's. There is still one seller if you want a DeWalt gyroscopic screwdriver here. This guy. There used to be tons of sellers on AliExpress. There's only one right now that I saw. They were on it under 200, but ready for this? Shipping, I think it's because of tariffs, is $100. It's more than 50%. All right, that's what I didn't want to deal with here. I want to say this set was $60 or something. I want to say years ago when I bought them direct from Domikey or whatever place sells the Domikey directly, it was like $40, $44. I want to say they were, for being the only available true third-party Happy Hacking keyboard key sets. They're surprisingly reasonable. You know, it's kind of crazy actually. So if you guys rock happy hacking keyboard, you know, maybe check out their offerings. That probably means something. Normally they would have a label there, but this is the exact same box that I've had on all the ones that I've ordered in, at least. So questions, comments, throw them down below, and hopefully we'll see in a future video, or you'll see this board in a future video, you know, like the board with these keycaps on, either when we do a quick vid at work, or, you know, just hopping around in the background. All right, see you in the next one. Peace.